Welcome to today's session. We're going to start looking at the reproductive system. And the first reproductive system we're going to look at is the male reproductive system. So we're going to start with the male reproductive system. At the end of this session, your people should be able to describe the structure of the following organs: the male external organs, the male internal organs, the excretory ducts, as well as the accessory glands of the male reproductive system. So the male reproductive system is composed of the testes, okay? So this is a testis, two of them, testes. It is composed of genital ducts. These are the passages through which sperm pass. So we have efferent ductules coming from, we're going to know them, coming from the testis to the epididymis. We have the epididymis itself. We have the ductus deferens that takes the sperm all the way from the testis, okay, up to the urethra. All right. We have the urethra, we have the ejaculatory ducts, all right. And then we have accessory glands also. Accessory glands such as the seminal vesicles, the prostate, okay, bulbourethral glands, all right. So those are some of the organs you're going to find, as well as the penis itself, which is the main organ of reproduction of copulation, okay. So this is just a diagram to show you how the internal and external organs are arranged, and the blood vessels that take up blood to the organs of reproduction. We have this being the abdominal aorta coming all the way from the heart, and it is going to bifurcate into the external iliac arteries, and then an internal iliac artery, okay, and then they are going to give off branches, okay. They're going to give off branches that are going to supply the organs of reproduction. And then this is the vena cava, which is taking away the blood that has been used. If you look at this diagram properly, you're going to notice that this is the bladder of this human being, okay? This is the rectum of this human being. And then we have from the bladder, the urethra coming all the way up to the penis and onto the external side. And then at some point, the urethra is joined by the vas deferens, which is coming all the way from the testis over here. Okay, so if you look at this, we have this tube coming all the way and coming to join the urethra over here. And that is how the male reproductive system is made. Okay, this is just yet another diagram showing us almost the same thing, except this is an anterior, this was a lateral view, and this is an anterior view. Okay, so this is an anterior view, and so we are looking at this person with two testes. The only difference here is that here we have removed all the layers so that you are able to see the testis, see the covering of the testis here. Here we've only removed a few layers, okay? And you're still able to see some muscles and everything. This is the penis, which has been cut in transverse section so that you're able to see, the features that are there. We're going to look at all these features, okay? We have the corpus spongiosum, we have two corpus cavernosa, we have the blood vessels bringing and taking blood away from the penis, and this is the anatomical makeup of the penis. So firstly, we're going to start with the testis. Okay, we're going to start with the testis. And we're saying the testes are the male gonad, okay? Meaning they are the male endocrine organ of reproduction, okay? And they are homologous with the ovary of the female, meaning they produce the sperm, they produce the hormones that are needed, okay? So they produce spermatozoa and they produce this hormone known as testosterone. We're going to look at the cells that produce testosterone. These are the Leydig cells, okay? So the testes are suspended in the scrotum by the spermatic cord, okay? They are suspended in the scrotum by the spermatic cord. This is the testis over here. Okay, the left testis is slightly lower than the right. The testis is oval in shape, as you can see. It looks like an egg. All right. It is about 3.75 centimeters long, 2.5 centimeters broad, and 1.8 centimeters thick from side to side. All right. An adult testis weighs 10 to 15 grams, so not very heavy, okay? So an adult testis will weigh about 10 to 15 grams. The external features of a testis, you're going to find that the testis is described as having two poles. So there is this upper pole and then there is this lower pole, okay? It is going to be described as having two borders, all right? We have this border here, okay, which is an anterior border, and then we have this border here, which is a posterior border, okay, and then it is going to be described as having two surfaces. We have this surface, medial surface, and a lateral surface on the other side, meaning this one is the one that is facing on the inside of the thighs, and on the other side we have a surface that is facing on the outside of the thighs. And so that is how that is made up. And then we have the coverings of the testis. The testis itself has several coverings, and the three most internal coverings include one, the tunica vaginalis, two, the tunica albuginea, and three, the tunica vasculosa. So if you look at here, we have the tunica vaginalis, okay? This one is a layer that is coming from the abdomen. As the testis is developing, it develops in the abdomen, okay? It develops in the abdomen. But as it is descending during development, it will carry with it the peritoneum, okay? It will carry with it the peritoneum, and so the peritoneum will also enter the scrotum. And so this layer of this layer of covering of the testis is part of the peritoneum coming from the abdominal cavity, and it is known as the tunica vaginalis. The tunica vaginalis has two layers. Remember, even the peritoneum has two layers. We have the parietal peritoneum, which is adherent or which is nearer to the abdominal wall. And then we have the visceral peritoneum, which is adherent to the abdominal organ. So even here, okay, we have the parietal layer over here, and then we have the visceral layer that is adherent to the testis. In the middle of these two layers, we have a potential cavity, just like the peritoneum, with a very small amount of fluid just for lubrication. Okay, and then in the middle here, we have the tunica albuginea. This is this is composed of dense connective tissue. Okay, this is composed of dense connective tissue, and it covers the testis all around, except at one point in the posterior part of the testis where tubules have to leave the testis and go into the epididymis, and that place is known as the mediastinum testis. Okay, and then we have this tiny layer which is also adherent to the testis, and this tiny layer is known as the tunica vasculosa, and this one is the innermost layer. Okay, it is a vascular coat, meaning that is where we have the blood vessels running. Okay, the blood vessels that are going to bring blood, okay, to the testis. That is where you're going to find them. So those are the three layers of coverings of the testis. Okay. So we're saying the posterior border of the tunica albuginea. Remember, as I was mentioning, that the tunica albuginea is this dense connective tissue that covers the testis all around, except that the posterior aspect at a point known as the mediastinum testis, where it is not completely covering the testis, but leaves spaces for the passage of the tubules to come from the testis to the epididymis. Okay, and then we find that this tunica albuginea sends in these connective tissue septa, okay, inside the testis. So you're going to find that inside the testis we have connective tissue septa that go in, okay, and this divides the testis into several lobules, about 200 to 300 lobules, and in each of these lobules we are going to find a tubes known as the seminiferous tubules, where spermatogenesis takes place. Okay, that is where spermatogenesis takes place. So each lobule contains 2 to 3 highly coiled, you've seen they are very highly coiled seminiferous tubules, and these tubules can measure up to about 60 centimeters in length. Okay, when you stretch them out, it can go up to about 60 centimeters long and about 0.2 millimeters in diameter. So we have these lobules being made because there are these septa that are going into the testis from the tunica albuginea. Okay, so that is the structure of the testis. Now, if we look at the testis, we cut it up, and then we get one seminiferous tubule. We cut it up in transverse section like this. We cut it up like this in transverse section, and we look at it under the microscope. Okay, we look at the tubule inside from under a microscope. This is what we are likely to see. Okay, so this is a tubule. It's like you get a hose pipe, you cut it up in transverse section like that, and then you start looking at the hole. So at the hole under the microscope, this is what you're going to see. Okay, we're saying that if this is one tubule you're looking at, we have that it is lined by cells which represent stages of formation of spermatozoa. So we have this lining. This is called the germinal epithelium. Okay, the germinal epithelium or spermatogenic epithelium, because this is where maturation of sperms occur. So it is made up of this layer. Obviously, there's a small basement membrane. Okay, there's a small basement membrane, and then there is this epithelial layer. This epithelial layer is made up of very large columnar cells known as Sertoli cells. Okay, very large columnar cells known as Sertoli cells. And within these Sertoli cells, you're going to find that small cells. Okay, if you look at this cell, it is starting to develop all the way from the bottom and it is coming up. This is a sperm. It's going to become a sperm. This initially is called the spermatogonia. We've already done spermatogenesis, so please, you will do well to go and revise spermatogenesis. Okay, you will do well to go and revise spermatogenesis and understand that even much, much more. Okay, so we're going to find that this sperm will be rising all the way from the epithelium and it will go. This part here is the lumen, and all these you're seeing are cells of are tails of spermatozoa that are being matured, okay, that are being produced before they leave to go uh, into the epididymis. And then we have around this epithelium, we have nice smooth muscle cells which function to contract in order to push the contents of the seminiferous tubules. And those cells are known as myoepithelial cells. Okay, so if you look at this one, they look like they are flat in nature. Okay, if we look at this one, you're going to notice that we have these myoepithelial cells that will have the duty of contracting in order to push the spermatozoa or the contents of the seminiferous tubules onto the external onto the until they start moving up to the epididymis. Okay, and then we are going, this is now a diagram. This is in a drawing form, okay? This is in the form of a drawing. It's the same diagram we're looking at, except that one is a real picture from a real microscopic slide. Now we look at a drawing. Okay, so if you're looking at the drawing, this is what you are going to see. This is the epithelium, the germinal epithelium. Okay, we have these big Sertoli cells, big columnar Sertoli cells, and these columnar Sertoli cells are supporting sperm as they developed from the base. And then we have that basement membrane nicely there. Now, external to the basement membrane, we have a place where there is only very loose connective tissue. So in this area, okay, on the outside of each tubule. Now remember, this is one tubule. This is another tubule. Since the picture is not showing, this is another tubule. Okay, all these are seminiferous tubules. But in between here, okay, in between here, we have loose connective tissue in which we find another form of cells. Okay, another form of cells, and those are known as Leydig cells. The other name for Leydig cells are interstitial cells. Okay, interstitial cells. The function of these interstitial cells is to produce testosterone. Okay, these are the cells that produce the male hormone known as testosterone. Okay, so these are the cells of the testicular lobules. We have one, the Leydig cells, whose function is to produce and secrete testosterone. Two, we have the Sertoli cells. The Sertoli cells are also known as the nurse cells or sustentacular cells. We have the spermatogenic cells, these ones that are going to be moving and becoming cells with time. And then we have in the basement membrane, although here we are not shown, but we have myoid cells, which are supposed to contract and help push out the contents of the seminiferous tubule. Okay? Now, you may have noticed, especially if you're male, that the testes are slightly cooler than the rest of the body. Okay? The testes are slightly cooler than the rest of the body. They are usually at a temperature of 3 to 4 degrees Celsius below the normal body temperature, okay? 3 to 4 degrees Celsius below the normal body temperature. The reason is that sperms can get denatured if they are in a hot place. So if it is hot, it is better. It is better that the sperms are uh, the sperms are somewhere where it is a little bit cooler than the body. Now, there are several ways in which the body makes sure that the sperms are kept at a temperature that is below normal body temperature. And one of those ways is the location. The testes are located outside. They're located on the outside, okay? So the location, okay, helps to make sure that the testes are cooler than the rest of the body. The other thing is that um there are some characteristics of the scrotal skin, which when remember the scrotal skin, the skin of the scrotum is wrinkled like that. That is in order for it to either expand or contract, okay? The fact that when it is very hot, you'll find that the testes will kind of expand so that the testes are further away from the body, and they do not get so much heat. And when it is cold, they will wrinkle up and the testes will move closer to the body. The other thing that you're going to notice is that there is a muscle. Okay, that muscle, we're going to look at it. We have a muscle that helps uh, to pull up the testes, okay? To pull up the testes when it is cold, and when it is hot, it um it 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 expands and allows for the testes to be further away from the body. The other thing that happens is the counter-current heat exchange. If you see this kind of arrangement of blood vessels, there is these veins that are surrounding just this one artery in the middle, okay? Surrounding this artery in the middle. Now, these veins are known as the pampiniform plexus. This pampiniform plexus is the one that carries blood from the testis back to the body. And then we have this testicular artery, which brings blood from the body to the testis. Now, what happens is, as the blood is coming from the body, remember the body is hotter, so the blood that is coming from the body is going to be hot, but the blood coming from the testis is going to be cooler. So as the blood is coming from the body to the testis, it will be cooled by the blood that is in the pampiniform plexus that is going back to the body. So you'll find that that nice temperature is nicely maintained. Okay, nicely maintained. And then we have the structure of the testis. Continued, we are going to say, we're going to notice that when we go back to the outside of the seminiferous tubule, you are going to notice that these seminiferous tubules at the end of each lobule, okay, at the end of each lobule here, at the apex of each lobule. So at this apex, at this apex, so at the apices of each lobule, they join together. And when they join together, they are going to form what are known as the straight tubules. So if you look at these seminiferous tubules at the end, at the apex, they are straight. And so these are known as the straight tubules. These are known as straight tubules. They will connect and connect and connect and form about 20 to 30 straight tubules. And then after that, they anastomose, meaning they join together in a mesh-like way, such that you may not be able to distinguish which one came from which lobule. And so when they anastomose, they form this network known as the retitestis. Okay, known as the retitestis. The retitestis is found in the mediastinum testis. The retitestis will then give rise to 12 to 30 efferent ductules. These are the efferent ductules, and they are the ones that now go to form the head of the epididymis. They're going to curl up and curl up and curl up and form the head of the epididymis, and along the way, they're going to join together, and they're going to form one very, very coiled tube, okay, which is going to be the body of the epididymis. Very coiled, such that when you hold it in your hand, it will be like you're holding one solid thing, okay? And so they are going to, that is what is going to happen. They're going to form what is known as the duct of the epididymis, okay? And this duct of the epididymis is now, so now the epididymis we're saying has the head, okay, the body, and then at the end here we have the tail of the epididymis. The tail of the epididymis is connected to the vas deferens. Vas deferens is also known as the ductus deferens. There it is, behind it, passes behind, and then goes and enters the pelvic cavity. All right, so this is how sperms will be moving as well. They will move from the seminiferous tubules where they are produced. They'll go into the straight tubules. They're going to go into the retitestis. They're going to go into the efferent ductules. They're going to go into the head of the epididymis. They're going to go into the body of the epididymis. Now, here in the epididymis, they are going to mature even more. They're going to mature even more. There's going to be removal of certain products that are not needed on the sperm. Mm, um, there's going to be nutrition of the sperm by the things that are produced by the epididymis, okay? And they're going to be stored right here in the epididymis, in the tail of the epididymis. And then during copulation, there's going to be squeezing of these sperms, which will go all the way into the vas deferens and to be expelled onto the outside. Okay, so we're saying that the epididymis is about 3 to 4 meters long. If you get this epididymis and you stretch it out, it can go up to 4 meters long. Okay, it is made up of a highly coiled tube that acts as a reservoir for spermatozoa. Okay, as a reservoir, that is where they stay. The head is large and connected to the upper pore of the testis. Okay, and this connection is by the efferent ductus and made up of highly coiled efferent ductus. Okay, and then the body is the middle part, and then we have the tail. The body and tail are made up of a single duct, like I said, it is connected, the duct of the epididymis, which is also very curled and continuous with the ductus deferens. Okay, so we're saying the head consists of 8 to 12 efferent ductules. We've already talked about that. And the efferent ductules will open into the individual epididymal ductule. All right. They are surrounded by contractile cells also. Okay. Which increase in size and number as you go towards the distal part, meaning as you go towards the tail. There will be peristaltic contractions generated by the smooth muscle, and these ones will propel the spermatozoa in an antegrade direction towards the tail. Its epithelial lining is pseudostratified columnar epithelium, okay? Pseudostratified columnar epithelium. So if you look at now, the other thing that you're going to notice is that pseudostratified columnar epithelium has what are known as stereocilia on top, and those stereocilia are the ones that help to absorb whatever extra fluid that is there in the fluid that brought the sperm to the epididymis. And then we have this diagram here, which you will notice that when you look at this human being, you'll be able to see nicely the demarcation of where the testis is and where the epididymis is. So that is how that is structured. Now, the next tubule is the ductus deferens, okay? It is the ductus deferens, and we're saying the ductus deferens is a continuation of the epididymis. So you look at this epididymis, we have this ductus deferens, which is a continuation of the epididymis. This one is about 45 centimeters long when you stretch it. Okay, 2 to 3 millimeters in diameter, with a luminal diameter of 300 to 500 micrometers. So yes, what this means is that the inner lumen is very small. The muscle of the vas deferens is thick. So it has relatively thick muscular walls. Okay, this is so that there is that propulsion, there is a lot of contraction as the sperm is passing through to be ejaculated. Okay, begins in the tail of the epididymis at the inferior pole of the testis. Okay, and ascends posterior to the testis, medial to the epididymis. Okay, it penetrates the anterior abdominal wall through the inguinal canal. All right, so there is a canal here known as the inguinal canal here. Okay, so it penetrates through the inguinal canal, all right, ends by joining the duct of the seminal vesicle or the seminal gland. Okay, joins the duct of the seminal gland to form what is known as the ejaculatory duct. So we have this seminal gland, and then this epididymis is coming from the back and then joining there, and they form the ejaculatory duct. Okay, that is how that is made. So like this diagram is showing clearly how it is coming all the way. It is going to first form this kind of balloon portion, which is known as the ampule of the ductus deferens, and then it is going to join the duct of the seminal vesicle to form the ejaculatory duct, and then the ejaculatory duct is going to open in the urethra at this point where it is where the urethra is surrounded by the prostate gland. When you get the epididymis, you cut it in transverse section like that. You cut it like that, or the way it is cut here, and you look at it from the top here. You look at it under a microscope. This is what you're going to notice. Okay, you will notice that it has a very thick muscular layer and a very small lumen where sperm is supposed to be passing. Okay, so we're saying it is consists of an outer adventitious sheath where there are blood vessels, okay, nerves, and all the things that may need to be coming to the vas deferens. And then there is a thick layer of muscle, thick muscular layer, all right? And this thick muscular layer is there are 3 layers of muscle here. Okay, it is also made up of a pseudostratified columnar epithelium. These layers are inner, a 3-layer muscular wall of inner and outer longitudinal. So we have outer longitudinal layer and an inner longitudinal layer. But here in the middle, we have a circular layer of smooth muscle. So during ejaculation, the smooth muscle layers contract reflexively, propelling the sperm in an antegrade direction. Okay? All right. So the male urethra is the next part we're going to look at. The male urethra is about 18 to 20 centimeters long, extends from the internal orifice in the urinary bladder to the external opening. Okay? Extends from the internal orifice of the urinary bladder all the way up to the external opening in the penis. Okay, all the way up to the external opening in the penis. It may be considered in three parts. We have an anterior urethra, which is approximately 16 centimeters long. Okay, we have an anterior urethra, which is approximately 16 centimeters long, lies within the perineum, okay, and within the perineum and the penis. So proximally, meaning inside the body, it lies within the perineum. The perineum is that space between uh, the anus and the scrotum. All right. So inside there we have of that part of the urethra which lies there, as well as the one which comes all the way into the testis, that is the anterior urethra. Okay, this urethra is surrounded by a layer of erectile tissue known as the corpus spongiosum. So if you look at this layer of erectile tissue known as the corpus spongiosum, okay, it is divided into one bulbar urethra, which is surrounded by bulbus spongiosus. Okay, and so if you look at this, urethra, you will notice that it is so the bulbus it is surrounded by the bulbus spongiosus, which is a muscle. Okay, let me see that diagram. Okay, yeah. So if you look at this picture, it is showing us this area, okay? This area which is covered by this muscle, which is known as the bulbus spongiosus. So inside here, we have the urethra coming from the bladder, from inside there, from the bladder, and that urethra is going to pass through this area, and it is known as the bulbar portion of the urethra. And then we have the penile portion of the urethra. Okay, so this is the anterior part of the urethra. That is the anterior portion of the urethra. And then we have the posterior urethra. Posterior urethra is just about 4 centimeters long, okay, and lies in the pelvis, proximal to the corpus spongiosum. All right. So we were saying that there is this layer which surrounds the urethra. This is an erectile tissue known as corpus spongiosum, but proximal to the corpus spongiosum, we have this portion here of the urethra that is not covered by the corpus spongiosum. Okay, it is short, just about 4 centimeters long, and it is divided into three portions. We have the pre-prostatic portion, okay, before the beginning of the prostate, and then we have the prostatic portion, okay, and then we have the membranous segments of this posterior urethra. So those are the parts of the urethra. We have the posterior urethra and the anterior urethra. The posterior urethra has two portions, the bulbar and the penile portions. And then we have the posterior urethra, which has the preprostatic, the prostatic, and the membranous segments. Okay, those are the parts of the male urethra. Now, when you get the urethra and you put it under a microscope, what are you going to see? The histology of the urethra is that the lining of the urethra is of a certain type, which is a special type of epithelium. The same epithelium which covers we have several parts of the urethra, and so all these several parts have different types of urethras, so of epithelia. So the epithelia that is closer to the bladder, okay, so the epithelium lining the preprostatic urethra and the proximal part of the prostatic urethra is typical urothelium. Urothelium is a special type of epithelium which lines the organs of the urinary system, starting all the way from the renal pelvis all the way into the ureters, the bladder, okay? As well as now we're talking about the preprostatic and some parts of the prostatic urethra. And then we have this urethra transitioning or changing below the opening of the ejaculatory ducts, okay, to a pseudostratified columnar epithelium or stratified columnar epithelium, which lines the membranous urethra and the major part of the penile urethra. Now we also have mucus secreting cells which are common, all right, so that the urethra is not kept dry, all right. And then we have branching tubular paraurethral glands also, which produce mucus for protection against anything in the urethral epithelium. Towards the distal end of the penile urethra, the epithelium becomes stratified squamous. So at the end of the penis, towards this portion as the urethra is coming out, okay, towards the distal portion, okay, we're going to find that here is going to be stratified squamous. And at the outer portion, you are likely to find that it's even keratinized. Okay, you'll find that it may even be keratinized. Okay, so those are the internal male genitalia. Now let us look at the external male genitalia. One, we have the penis, okay, and two, we have the scrotum. So the penis is the male organ of copulation, consists of an attached root in the perineum and a free pendulous body, okay, which is completely enveloped by skin. So we have this part, okay, which is attached. All right, this part attached, and then there's this part attached. These are showing what is inside, okay, what is happening inside. So these are attached. So the penis starts from all the way deeper here. And so we have this attached part, and this is known as the root of the penis. And then we have this pendulous shaft, okay? That is how the penis is made. Now, the root of the penis is composed of three masses of erectile tissue, namely the two crura. So we have this crura here and this crura here. And then we have the bulb, okay? The bulb of the penis. And each crus is firmly attached to the margins of the pubic arch and is covered there by the muscles known as the ischiocavernosus, by a muscle known as the ischiocavernosus. The bulb, okay, is attached to the perineal membrane in between the crura, here. So we have here the the crura and another crura here. And then these crura are covered by this muscle known as ischiocavenosus. And then we have in the middle here, we have the bulb, which is covered by this muscle known as the bulbospongiosus. Inside the bulb, that is where we're going to find that part of the internal urethra, which is of the anterior urethra, which is known as the bulbar urethra. Okay, so we have this bulb covered now by this muscle known as the bulbospongiosus. So its deep surface is pierced above its center by the urethra. Like I was saying, the surface of the bulb is pierced by the urethra. At its base, it is supported by two suspensory ligaments, okay, which anchor it to the pubic symphysis. We have these suspensory ligaments here, okay? We have these suspensory ligaments and they anchor it firmly to the pubic symphysis. These are the pubic bones, okay? For orientation's sake, this is a male person who is lying down and they have opened their legs. And so these are the pubic bones over here. This is a pubic bone and a pubic bone. And in the middle here, we have the pubic symphysis. All right. So behind the penis, this is what we're talking about when we talk about a crus and a crus, and these are covered by ischiocavenosa muscles, and this one being the bulb covered by the bulbospongiosus. Okay, that is how that is the anatomical make of the root of the penis. And then we have the body of the penis. The body of the penis, okay. Now this picture is nicely showing us the bulb, okay, being pierced by the urethra over there, and this urethra coming all the way up to the outside. And we have the crus and another crus, and they come like that. So now we are saying the body is the free portion of the penis, and this body is composed, is completely enveloped by skin. It is composed of three erectile columns. So we have this erectile column, which is a continuation of one crus. Okay, and we have another erectile column on the other side, which is continuation of another crus, and we have the continuation of the bulb of the penis. So the continuation of the bulb um, of the penis is known as the corpus spongiosum, and then we have these two cavernosa bodies, and these are the corpus cavernosum. So we have two cavernosa and one corpus spongiosum through which the urethra passes all the way up to the outside of the penis. So the corpus spongiosum is the forward continuation of the bulb of the penis. Its terminal part is expanded to form the glans penis. If you see this glans penis here, and it is traversed by the urethra, surrounded by a fibrous sheath. You've seen this fibrous sheath around the corpus spongiosum over there, okay? Okay, the base of the glans penis has a projecting margin, this margin here, which is known as corona glandis, okay, which overhangs an obliquely grooved constriction known as the neck of the penis. There is a constriction over there, and that is what is known as the neck of the penis. Within the glans, the urethra shows a dilatation called the navicula. Okay, so if you look at this diagram here, we are saying this is the glans, all right? But inside the glans, yes, we have the urethra passing through it, but towards the end in the glans, we have this portion where the urethra kind of shows a dilatation, and this is known as the navicular fossa. That is what we are going to call the navicular what? That is what we're going to call the navicular fossa. Okay. And this one has epithelial cells that are glycogen in nature. And so these ones also produce a commensal, a lactobacillus. Okay, a lactobacillus. The same way in the woman we have normal flora that produce acid in order to protect the vagina from pathogens. So even in the navicular fossa, you're going to find these cells, okay? These cells that produce a substrate for commensal lactobacilli, okay, which are also important for a defense against pathogenic organisms. Okay, now if you cut this penis in transverse section, you cut it over here, and then you look at it from here going to the inside. This is what you're going to see. These are the layers of the penis. First of all, you're going to find that you're going to see the skin, obviously. Okay, and then just internal to the skin, we have what is known as Colles fascia. This is connective tissue. And then under there, we're going to have Bach's fascia. Okay, and then we are going to have the tunica albuginea. Tunica albuginea is going to cover the tunica venosa. Okay. The tunica albuginea is what is going to surround the tunica venosa. All right. And then the tunica albuginea is going to have an external layer, which is an outer layer, and an inside layer. Okay. And that is how that is going to be. The inner layer, the outer layer is made up of longitudinal column, collagen fibers, and the inner layer is made up of circular collagen fibers. That is it about the penis. And now let's look at the scrotum. The scrotum is a cutaneous bag containing the right and left testes. Okay, look at this bag. Okay, it's a bag of skin. All right, bag of skin made up containing the testes. Okay, it also contains the epididymis and the lower parts of the spermatic cords, meaning the lower parts of the vas deferens. Externally, the scrotum is divided into right and left parts by a ridge. There's going to be a ridge right in the middle, all the way from the scrotum, all the way to the penis. That is known as the raphe, and which continues forward onto the undersurface of the penis, right here, there. The left half of the scrotum hangs lower than the right, okay? The left half of the scrotum hangs lower than the right. So under the influence of the cord, in young and robust persons, the scrotum is short, okay? Remember we talked about this already. Corrugated, meaning it has a lot of wrinkles, and closely applied to the testes. That is when it's very cold, so that the testes will now become slightly warmer than the actual environment. And this is due to contraction of the subcutaneous muscle of the scrotum, known as the dartos. Now, this scrotum has these small, smooth muscles, okay? These smooth muscles are good at contracting when it is cold and relaxing when it is hot, okay? These muscles are known as the dartos muscle. However, under the influence of warmth, and in old and debilitated persons, the scrotum is elongated and flaccid because the dartos does what? Relaxes. Okay? Now, the layers of the scrotum. When you open up the scrotum, you're going to notice these nice layers over here. We're going to notice that there is, first of all, skin, obviously. And then the skin, we have, under the skin, we have dartos muscle. We have this external spermatic fascia, okay? External spermatic fascia. Then we have the cremasteric fascia, okay? We have this cremasteric fascia. There's even uh, um, a few smooth muscles, and so you find that those smooth muscles are called cremasteric muscles. Okay, and then we have internal spermatic fascia. All right, those are the layers that you're going to find. And then we're going to find the layers that we've already talked about, the layers of the testis. All right, we're going to find those. We have the tunica vaginalis, okay? The tunica albaginea, all right, which may not be seen here. Okay, so those are the layers of the scrotum. All right, so today we're going to end here. If you have any questions, kindly ask me anytime. You are free to do so.